In the years that I've been doing this area of law, perhaps the biggest change is the amount of cases that we resolve by settlement rather than through litigation. I was hired in this law firm out of the district attorney's office to be the firm litigator, and I used to spend all my time virtually, it seemed, in court, first hearings, trials, and litigating a lot of cases. And in today's world, we're settling 95% of our cases, and if anything, that's a conservative figure. And that's a really good thing for the clients. Settlements are good, and it's rare the case today that needs to be litigated. There are a variety of reasons for it. I think there's been a change in both society and in the practice of law and in the training of lawyers in terms of coming to resolution and the importance of it. And also a great deal of emphasis in terms of training, in terms of settlement. We promote my book for the ABA Family Law section. I actually wrote the book that is published by the ABA on tactics in settling family law cases. And there's a lot of lectures and programs on it. But the biggest change in all of that is the use of mediation. And it became mandatory a number of years ago in custody and placement cases, and might as well be considered mandatory today for financial cases, because a lot of courts will order mediation, and even when they don't, in this office, we won't take a case to trial without at least offering mediation. And there have been any number of times where I've gone into mediation and somewhat skeptical myself, and even more cases where my client is skeptical that we might be throwing good money after bad in terms of mediating the case, and maybe just go to trial because there's no way of settling it. And with a good mediator who handles the mediation in an appropriate manner, walking out at the end of it with a settlement in our hands. And that's happened any number of times, more times than I can count, when I've been pleasantly surprised. And a couple years ago, I'd been doing mediation on an occasional basis, and I thought, you know what, I preach the importance of learning more about settlement. I bet you there's a lot more to learn about being a mediator. And I took the University of Wisconsin Extension 40-hour mediation course, and I learned a great deal in it. I think it's made me a lot better mediator, and I mediate a number of cases now. And it's a challenge. It's difficult to do. It's harder to be a mediator than it is to represent somebody in mediation. But again, I've had a fair amount of success at it. I think a great deal of success at it in a number of cases. And again, I think it's important and helpful for clients to do it. One organization that started a number of years ago in promoting not just mediation itself, but also how to do it, how to do a better job, is an organization called the Wisconsin Association of Mediators, or WAM. And WAM's an organization that's been around for a long time, before mediation was really even widely utilized, promoting the use of mediation. And I'm fortunate a couple times to speak at their annual meeting. Haven't done it in a while, and so I'm pleased to get an invitation to do it again. The program is in Madison. It's going to be on March 16th at the Holiday Inn Madison at the American Center. And I'm going to be speaking sort of against the norm on it. I'm going to be speaking about some of the difficult issues in mediation, why some lawyers have some objections to some of the mediation process, and how to address some of these issues. So I'm not going to spend the whole time in this video going through all that, but part of what I'm going to be discussing is not just that mediation's a great thing, because obviously, guess what, the Wisconsin Association of Mediators, it's the definition of preaching to a choir, but how it can even be better, what some of the issues are, how lawyers can handle it better, represent clients better, and do a better job of using mediation to get to a resolution. And I'll just give one example. One of the issues I'll be talking about will be the use of facilitative mediation and evaluative mediation. My opinion is that facilitative mediation is usually a waste of time in family law cases. Facilitating discussions between the two lawyers shouldn't be necessary. Two lawyers should be able to do it by themselves, but sometimes it is. And evaluative mediation, in terms of the mediator expressing opinions, in terms of settlement proposals, I think is in most cases a much better way of getting to settlement. And when you get into that discussion, one of you get into is, are you better off with an ex-judge, a former judge is the mediator, a judge who can say to the parties, I can't tell you what this judge will do in a case, but when I was a judge, I would have done such and such. And I think, of course, one of the great mediators, best mediators I've ever utilized, the late Judge Patrick Snyder from Waukesha, who used that approach a lot. And not only would he say that about himself, but he would also say frequently, I know Judge so-and-so, and here's what he or she usually does with this type of issues. There are other cases where that may not work as well, where the particular clients or the issues in the case call for a different approach. So that'll be one of a number of issues that I'll be discussing at the program. If you look at my introduction to flu this month, I'm giving a link to the program, and I'll be speaking, as I said, on March 16th on this issue and discussing a number of issues about mediation that cause some problems for lawyers in terms of doing it, and hopefully we're going to have an open discussion in terms of how to address those issues and make the mediation process even better. So I hope you'll be able to attend. While I have your attention, I'd like to remind you that last month we announced that we are going to be selling subscriptions to our family law cases that we've been compiling in this office for over 30 years now. It has something like 1,300 cases. Pretty much every family law case in Wisconsin for the last 40 years has all the significant unpublished but citable cases that are difficult to find but can be incredibly important to representing clients, and also some key cases from other states in addressing particular issues. We think this is an incredibly valuable resource, and we think one that every family lawyer in Wisconsin will want to have. It's called Wisconsin Family Law Case Finder, and it's going to be going live on March 1st and available for subscriptions. For flu subscribers, we're going to give you a link on our homepage here on our flu site and give a 10% discount for the first month for flu subscribers to this resource. As I say, I think it's something that people are going to appreciate, people are going to utilize, and that's going to be incredibly valuable for family law attorneys in Wisconsin.